Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Tomatolito Show. And we're going to take a look at the upcoming UFC schedule as we're approaching the end of 2020. And we're going to look at Bellator as well and see what the two biggest MMA organizations in the United States have to offer here to close out 2020. Let's start with the UFC. It looks like their card is going to be a little bit more stacked. They still have a bunch of fights that are actually going to take place to close out 2020. November 28th, we're starting. This is going to be the card that's going to be going against the big exhibition that people are waiting for between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. This is going to be a UFC fight night. It's going to be free on ESPN, and it ends up being Devin Clark versus Anthony Smith. They get moved. They were going to be the co-headliner. They actually get moved to headline the card now, as the original matchup for this date was set to be Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis. Curtis Blades ends up testing positive for COVID-19, gets removed. That fight gets scrapped. Who knows if it's going to be rescheduled? As of right now, it looks like they're going to try to possibly push it for UFC 256, which should take place in December 12th. But as of right now, November 28th, the fight is scrapped, and you're going to see Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark as the main event of that card, and they'll be going against the exhibition of Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. You're going to be looking at December 5th. You have Jack Hermanson versus Kevin Holland. That's going to be an ESPN2 fight, also a UFC fight night type. Then we move on to a big event for the UFC. That's going to be UFC 256, where we'll see Davison Figueiredo against Brandon Moreno, both of them coming off really good wins, really impressive wins just a couple weeks back. And they're going to turn around and get back in the octagon quickly. This fight is taking place December 12th with the co-headliner, the co-main event. It's going to be Tony Ferguson against Charles Oliveira. A few episodes back, we ended up talking about how crazy this lightweight division in the UFC is turning out to be. And it's just, to me, is just, they're out for blood, shark-infested waters right now. And any one of these people are lining themselves up to be the next challenger at the throne if Khabib, in fact, does stay away from the sport and that title gets vacated. As of right now, the UFC has not declared the title vacant in the lightweight division. They're still, if you go to their website, they still show Khabib as the champ at the lightweight division. Who knows how that division is going to play out? Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira is where it all starts, and that's where hopefully these muddy waters start clearing up a little bit, followed by the big Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier rematch that will take place towards the end of January, UFC 257. From there, it looks like UFC is going to be closing out the year, December 19th. That's going to be an ESPN Plus card, and that's going to be between Leon Edwards and the amazing Chimaev, who's just been running through competition left and right. All the hype is there. All the hype is there for Chimaev, and listen, it's amazing what he's been doing, coming back on short notice. Khamzat Chimaev just laying it all out, and he's been just destroying opposition. Leon Edwards has been out for a while. He ended up being the victim of the travel restrictions because of the pandemic, of the lockdown restrictions, having to pass up on the matchup against or trying to line himself up against Kamaru Usman earlier this year. Unable to get himself against Burns, unable to participate in several matchups. Several matchups have been scrapped on his behalf, and so people are starting to discard him. He has all the talent in the world to be able to make noise at this division. If he's able to pull off this victory against Khamzat, who has so much noise and hype behind him, if he's able to pull off this victory, you could bet that Leon Edwards is going to head straight into that championship match against Kamaru Usman or whoever is the champion at the time. Nonetheless, Leon Edwards, he defeats this, he wins this, he's in for a title shot. Hands down, in my opinion. However, Khamzat wins. He'll probably be one or two fights away as he's tearing through competition. You're going to have really good matchups here left for the UFC, and really good cards coming up, really good competition. Now we look at the Bellator schedule. They have one card left. It's going to be live on CBS Sports Network, and that's actually going to be not a bad card at all. For Bellator to close out the year, this is the way to do it. You have such a big fight between McFarlane and Juliana Velasquez. McFarlane, of course, the champ at flyweight. She's coming in with an 11-0 record. Juliana Velasquez coming in with a 10-0 record, both undefeated fighters. The flyweight world title on the line. That's going to be an awesome fight. Ilima Lei McFarlane has just been doing amazing things in Bellator. And like I said on one of the previous episodes, there's a lot of talent, a lot of great talent in Bellator. And they're just, to me, it seems like the brand itself is doing a disservice to the fighters and the talent that they currently have on their rosters and signed, because they need to be promoting these fights a lot better. This fight's going to take place December 10th, which is a Thursday, and live on CBS Network. The undercard to that, Magomedov, 16-1 record against Mateus Matos, 12-1. So that seems like it's going to be a legit fight. Goiti Yamauchi is going to be also on that card. One of his notable defeats, he's 25-4. One of his biggest fights that he's taken to date and notable defeats was to Michael Chandler, who is now fighting or has signed with the UFC and finds himself amidst those muddy waters, those bloody infested waters that I was telling you about in the lightweight division in the UFC. And Yamauchi is going to be facing Nate Andrews, who has a 16-3 record. Again, that's going to be December 10th for Bellator to close out their year. December 10th and live on CBS Sports Network. The UFC a little bit more stacked to close out the year. A lot of big matchups on both ends and a lot of entertainment for us. Who's the winner? We're going to be the winners, right? We get a lot of good matchups there on behalf of both organizations. And let's hope that there's big things in the future for Bellator MMA this upcoming 2021. So take care of yourselves. We'll talk soon, and I'll keep bringing you some more episodes here in the coming days. Take care.